She stood by the office door long after everyone else had left, the resignation letter trembling slightly in her fingers. The city outside, the floor-to-ceiling windows glowed with cold power, steel, money, danger. This building didn't belong to ordinary men. And neither did the man behind the desk. He didn't look up when she walked in. He never rushed. Men like him controlled time itself. "I'm leaving," she said quietly, placing the envelope on his desk. That made him pause. Slowly, deliberately, he lifted his eyes to her. Dark, sharp, the kind of eyes that had sent grown men to their knees without a single word. "You're quitting," he said, not asking. Yes. Silence thickened the air. She had practiced this moment 100 times. She told herself she wouldn't shake. She told herself she wouldn't remember the way his voice softened only when he spoke to her, or how his presence felt like standing too close to fire. She told herself she wouldn't think about the night he stood between her and a gunman without hesitation. But the room betrayed her. The scent of him, leather, danger, something unmistakably masculine, wrapped around her like memory. "You don't resign from me," he said calmly. Her chest tightened. "I'm not your property." For the first time, something flickered across his face. Not anger. Something deeper. Something dangerous. He rose from his chair. When he walked toward her, every instinct screamed at her to step back, but she didn't. She refused to show fear. She had grown up learning how to survive storms. He was just another one. "You think I don't know why you're leaving?" he said, stopping inches away. "You're afraid." "I'm tired," she whispered. "Tired of pretending I don't know who you are. Tired of watching blood follow you into every room. Tired of pretending my heart isn't breaking." That did it. His jaw tightened. The mask cracked. "I warned you not to fall in love with me," he said lowly. She laughed bitterly. "You never warned me not to feel safe with you. You never warned me not to trust you. You never warned me not to believe that behind all this cruelty, there was a man who saw me." His hand moved faster than her thoughts. The office door slammed shut behind her. Locked. Her breath caught. He didn't touch her immediately. That was worse. He leaned down, his voice rough against her ear. "Every man in this city fears me," he said. "But you're the only one who ever dared to walk away." She turned to face him, eyes blazing. "Because I love you. And loving you is killing me." For a moment, the world stopped. Then he pulled her into his arms. Not roughly. Not possessively. Desperately. Her body melted against his before her mind could protest. She felt his heartbeat. Fast, uneven. The great Mafia boss, ruler of shadows, undone by a woman who had nothing but courage and kindness. "I built an empire with blood," he murmured into her hair. "But you walked into my life with nothing and made me want redemption." Tears slid down her cheeks. "Then let me go." He tightened his hold. "I can't." She tried to pull back. "You don't own me." "No," he said. "But my soul does." He cupped her face, forcing her to meet his gaze. For once, there were no secrets in his eyes. Only fear. Fear of losing the one person who made him human. "I would burn this entire world down before I let you disappear from my life." She swallowed. "Love isn't a prison. Neither is protection," he replied. "Stay. Not because I command it. Stay because I'm choosing you, and I'm asking you to choose me back." The kiss that followed wasn't gentle. It was years of restraint shattering. It was hunger, regret, devotion colliding. She tasted every unsaid word, every night he had watched her walk away without stopping her. When they finally parted, her forehead rested against his chest. "This life will follow you," she whispered. "Then I'll change it," he said without hesitation. "For you." She laughed softly through tears. "Men like you don't change." He lifted her hand and pressed it over his heart. "Then be the reason I try." Outside, the city kept moving, unaware that in a high-rise office, a kingpin had just surrendered his crown to love. She didn't take the resignation letter when she left the office that night. She took his hand. And for the first time in his violent, ruthless life, the Mafia boss walked not beside power, but beside hope. They didn't leave the building together that night. He insisted on it. "Not because I'm ashamed of you," he said quietly as the elevator doors opened. "But because the world watching us isn't ready to know you're the one thing I can't afford to lose." She understood. This was his world. One ruled by shadows, whispers, and men who killed for far less than love. Still, when she stepped into the elevator alone, her heart ached. From that night on, everything changed. He became more careful. Meetings ended earlier. Bloodshed was avoided when it could be. Men who had never seen mercy began to notice something unsettling. Their boss listened more, thought longer, walked away from violence when once he would have embraced it. And everyone knew why. Her desk moved closer to his office. His guards learned her footsteps. His enemies learned her name. That was when the danger truly began. It started small. A delayed car. A missing security detail. A message left on her phone with no words, just breathing on the other end. She didn't tell him at first. She knew what he would do. But one evening, as rain poured over the city, she arrived late to his office and found him standing by the window, his back rigid, the phone crushed in his hand. "Who threatened you?" he said flatly. Her heart dropped. "How did you? I warned you," he interrupted, turning to her slowly. His eyes were no longer soft. They were lethal. "You don't protect me by hiding danger. You survive by trusting me." She swallowed. "I didn't want you to kill someone because of me." He crossed the room in 3 strides and took her face in his hands, forcing her to look at him. "I've killed men for far less," he said. "But for you, I would destroy nations." That night, she stayed. Not in his bed, but in his world. She sat beside him during strategy meetings. She watched men twice her size fall silent when she spoke. She challenged him when his temper flared. She reminded him that power without conscience rotted from the inside. And slowly, impossibly, he let her. But love makes monsters careless. An old enemy returned. One he thought buried years ago. A man who knew his past. A man who understood his weakness was no longer hidden behind steel and silence. Her. The kidnapping attempt failed. But barely. When he arrived at the scene, gunshots still echoed in the alley, and she stood shaking, blood on her sleeve that wasn't hers. He pulled her into his chest so hard it hurt. That was the night he broke. "I can't keep you safe like this," he whispered. "And I can't lose you." She looked up at him, rain mixing with tears. "Then stop pretending you have to rule alone." He stared at her. "What are you saying?" "Let me stand with you," she said. "Not behind you. Not protected from you. With you." For the first time, he saw it. Not weakness, but partnership. From then on, she became untouchable. Not because of guards or guns. But because every major power in the city understood one truth. Harming her meant declaring war on a man who had nothing left to lose. And yet, love demanded more. One night, as they stood on the balcony overlooking the city he once owned with fear, she placed a hand on his chest. "Promise me something," she said. "Anything. If the day comes when you must choose between your empire and your humanity, choose humanity." His jaw tightened. "And if that choice gets me killed?" She met his eyes. "Then I'll know I loved a man, not a monster." Silence stretched between them. Then he nodded. Months later, he did the unthinkable. He stepped back. Power shifted. Allies panicked. Enemies tested boundaries. But he remained calm. Because for the first time, his life wasn't built only on control. It was built on love. And when he finally asked her to stay, not as an employee, not as a secret, but as his future, the entire city felt the tremor. She didn't answer immediately. She kissed him instead. Slowly. Honestly. Fearlessly. "I never wanted a king," she said softly. "I wanted a man brave enough to change." He rested his forehead against hers. "And I never believed I deserved salvation, until you walked into my office with a resignation letter." The city outside still whispered his name in fear. But in her arms, he was just a man who had finally learned how to love.